Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe, Panther III.
Hello there, wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And today we have two wrestlers that are here to hang out and go crazy with me. I have Electra and guys, introduce yourselves. I'm not going to do it. You guys introduce yourselves.
Go ahead.
Madman Pondo.
And I'm Electra.
Awesome. So how did you two get into the wrestling business?
Mine was June 24th of 2024 will be year 35 for me. But I was always a wrestling fan back in the day from childhood. And I always told myself I was going to be a pro wrestler, but not just one of these guys that only drives 40 miles each way. Like I told myself I was going to be a professional wrestler. My dream was never WWE. My dream was always Japan. And April will be my 47th trip. So I would say that I have done what I set out to do and not planning on stopping anytime soon.
Wow. So individually, who trained you two?
Okay.
Well, I'm actually not a wrestler.
Okay.
I'm a manager, valet. I want to. I just have no actual training.
Okay.
And me, a guy that you've never heard of named Bud Chapman. He had a school out of Olney, Illinois, and it was a very basic school, but I knew just knowing the basics wasn't going to get your face out there. So, yes, he for the first 2.5 years, he was the trainer, and then I just branched out. Like I started working for Bill Dundee, I started working for Chris Champion, and just kept my face going as much as I could until people started recognizing who I was.
Wow. So what was it like the first time you stepped foot in your training facility? Were you nervous? Were you excited? What was it like? What was your energy like?
Very excited because this was a dream come true. Shout out to my mom and dad who knew that this was my dream and said, hey, go for it. They bought me an 87 Thunderbird that was good on gas and said, travel to your shows in it. And yeah, man, there was never any nervousness, never any fright, because I knew this is what I wanted to do. My mom still has this paper where in school, did they ever do the thing where they said, draw what you're going to be when you get older? Mm-hmm. Some kids were drawing firemen, some were drawing policemen, some were drawing kiss asses, was drawing teachers. I drew a ring with two stick people going at each other saying, I want to be a professional wrestler. And that's from grade school. So that should tell you, I had no nervousness, all excitement, ready to go.
Mm. So, let's go a little closer in. What were you thinking the first time you stepped through the curtain? Well, did you have a song going on your headphones or CD player, or did you just have to sit down and take a breath? What were you thinking?
That'll be your answer.
Oh, sorry. For myself, I was actually with somebody. I was freaking out. I was supposed to be handing these beads out and they got all tangled up. So I'm just like, well, I already blew it. Might as well just go home.
Oh, wow. Oh
But
no.
it was a good thing she didn't go home, because
Yeah.
now she rocks the fucking house, man. I'm telling you, like, when we're out there, if we're good guys or baby faces, whatever you want to call us, we got them, you know, chanting our names and yelling for us. If we're heels, we got them wanting to kill us. So she's doing good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's a good thing she didn't walk away from it.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about wrestling. Like, you think like you go through the curtain for the first time and something goes wrong. Like your case, the beads, they got tangled, and then you're like, oh fuck, I'm done. I can't do this. I don't want the crowd to boo me because I can't throw beads. I'm just sitting there like.
And it was like to little kids too, and they're like reaching their hands out, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, little Timmy. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh no, oh no. So, Madman, like you do like the death match scene. Like, is there a line that you won't cross with like a weapon?
Oh
That you like
yeah.
can't use that.
So fire is very unpredictable, and I've already burnt my arm all up. Razor wire, I don't see any need in using razor wire, but I did a spot on a bed of pencils, and it got in my bloodstream and messed me up for 6 days. So that line stops at beds of pencils. I will never do that again. Ever, 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 ever.
So in like I saw your picture that you sent me with that blade thing.
Saw bat. The saw
like,
bat.
Oh my gosh! Like,
You ever play video games?
Oh yeah, love video games.
Dead Island.
The name sounds familiar. I think I know.
For Dead Island, you could put things together and make weapons out of them. And one of the things that you could put together was a baseball bat with a saw blade. But the saw blade in the video game was stationary. So for Joe McDougal, I went to Slave of the Death Match, and one of the weapons, there it was, the bat with the saw blade. But he had a screw in the saw blade to where it wouldn't spin. So I went home and talked to my buddy Fred Ferguson, who made me the saw bat that spins, and I've been using it ever since. I'm more famous for the stop sign, but I think people's now expecting to see the saw bat out of me as well.
So who has been the victims of that famous saw blade with the bat?
Whoever steps in front. That's pretty much every opponent that I've had since I've had the saw bat.
Awesome. So like, if you want to talk about like a crazy, you said about burning your arms. Is there anything, like any stories offhand from the road that you could think about?
So 54 years of my life and 34 years of my wrestling life, I had never been to the hospital. And 2020's WrestleMania weekend for Planet Death, Matthew Justice laid me on a door, but he had the barrels too close underneath. And he climbed up to the second floor of this balcony and jumped down and put his knee straight into my rib cage. Sorry about that. Which broke 3 and 4, sending 4 not puncturing a hole but ripping a hole and causing my lung to collapse. But I went back to the ring and did another 7 minutes lifting sledgehammers and stop signs. And of course I lifted him up, and then I had to go to the hospital, but I still think that puts me in a bad motherfuckers club. So yeah.
There's like the thing about like hard deathmatch wrestling. It's like you could hear a story and be like, nah, that's not gonna happen. And then when you hear it, when you do a podcast like this, it's like, oh, Joe, what have you heard? Well, I heard like Jules Malone's get her pussy stapled by Randy West, and then I tell people that story, and they're like, it's all the non-deathmatch wrestlers that get you think their Wi-Fi just froze reaction.
That's it.
And I'm like, did your Wi-Fi freeze? You good? Oh no, you're not a deathmatch wrestler, so you don't phase. It's like, meh.
I'm just absorbing this. I'm listening.
Yeah, no, not you. That's the regular wrestler that has not encountered stapling of body to rings, stuff like that. Like, is there any like wrestlers from like any parts of the country that you would really want to wrestle, Madman, that you haven't had a
I would
chance to wrestle with?
I would love to wrestle Onita someday because he's like the grandfather of this shit. Actually, the grandfather of me is Masanaga Mr. Danger, which he's the one who gave me the wristbands that I wear to the ring and told me to call myself the American Danger Man. So he's like the godfather, and then Pogo, but Onita was part of the three. So yeah, I would really like to wrestle Onita someday.
Awesome. So like when you travel for these shows, do you like have to like pack your like eat your lunch at home and then pack like a dinner, or do you eat like after the show? You don't eat before a match.
I can eat on my way to the ring. I don't give a fuck. You know, I mean, I've been doing this so long. I don't know if you knew me before, but I was 332 pounds 1 year ago, and now I'm 235 pounds. So, not packing a lunch is better for me because then I can choose like I don't know, a steak. I can't do bread. I can't do rice anymore. So more or less, I say, Electra, what are you in the mood for? And then I pick what I can eat and don't order what I can't eat.
Mm.
Yeah.
My mom can't eat bread either, but she's not supposed to eat rice. But my dad, he likes rice. So it's like, Dad, we need to start cutting back the rice. Nope, Dad, stop yelling at me. Like,
I'm a big sushi fan. Of course, that's got rice underneath it. So I am guilty of rice.
ooh, what kind of sushi is in your wheelhouse? I love sushi.
I like the salmon and the shrimp sushi. And for years, I fought it. Like I thought eating raw food would kill you or taste like shit. But when you're over in Japan, sometimes the mafia take you out to eat, and they always want sushi. So you can't tell the mafia no. So I had to figure out what sushi that I liked real quick, and that's the two that I picked.
It's funny as a kid, like watching like cartoons like The Simpsons. I never had sushi yet. When I was like, I think I was like, I love sushi now, but when I was a kid, I used to watch The Simpsons. And the
Right.
first vision of sushi for me was that fucking episode when Homer went to the
Fugu.
sushi.
Yeah.
Yep. With the blowfish.
Yeah.
And that was the
Beautiful,
first vision ever of sushi. And I was like,
beautiful language, huh, Marge? When they're all freaking out, Homer
yeah,
says, beautiful language, huh, Marge?
yeah. And I'm freaking out thinking, my mom's like, we should try sushi one day. And then that episode comes on. It's like they said that that's the start of the TV's listening to you. That episode comes on, and I'm just like this. We're gonna have sushi, and I watched it, and all I can think is they're chopping the thing, and they're like, no, you gave him the wrong piece, and it's the whole part they show with the skull and crossbones, and I'm like,
Right.
shit. I mean, I like this. I like the salmon like you do. I like the tuna, and I also like the eel. I like the eel roll when unagi give you power.
If it's free, I eat it. So
Yeah,
if it's on
that's
that platter, I pretty well try everything.
So when you like go to these shows and you do your death match, do you ever go to like the day before and go to like Home Depot and try to find something to make as a weapon?
I do this thing where I put cinder blocks on on their balls and break it with a sledgehammer. So that's either a trip to Lowe's or Home Depot. Gusset plates are really hard to find, but you can always find them at Lowe's or Home Depot. So the answer is yes. I do go to Lowe's and Home Depot sometimes before my matches.
Did you ever explain to the Home Depot people going like, they ask, so what are you building today? And you're like, I can imagine their face when you're like, oh, I'm just doing a death match. They're like,
it's funny you say that because me and Electra just went to Home Depot and we only bought one cinder block. And the lady, I can't remember what was her question. She asked something.
Are you guys building like a raised garden or something like that?
And I said, no, you'd be shocked to know what I'm going to do at this block. She goes, try me. And I said, I'm going to lay it on a man's balls and I'm going to break it with a sledgehammer.
Mind you, he kind of like walked up to her and just kind of like quietly whispered this in her ear.
And you could tell she really didn't believe it.
We need to go back with the video.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? These days, guys, you tell people like I tell people I interview pro wrestlers and they go, okay. And then I'm like, here, scan this QR code. Watch an episode. The only episode one person watched, they never watched my podcast again. Not because they didn't like it. They just didn't get it. They watched the Jules Malone one. And I was just like, they just look at me like this. I'm like, what? They're like, I was like, stapler, huh? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, the hell? Like, that's all you learned from the whole episode is a stapler thing? Yeah. That's funny. Like, you definitely should show the girl of the video. That'd be the funniest. You have to make a reaction of her reacting to the video.
It's like an inception of me recording her while he's showing her the video.
And have the video, you know how you can do on TikTok, have like the video playing and have her
like
reaction.
A duet.
Yeah. Well, actually, when you get a video of that, like going the sledgehammer thing, please send it to me on Instagram. I would love to post that for you guys.
Yeah, send me your Instagram. I'll follow you.
I'll send it. I'll send it to you guys at the end.
Awesome.
So like when you guys do I already asked about that question, but is there any shows coming up for you guys?
Of course, we have Strictly Insane Pro Wrestling. Well, I'm gonna be in Japan, so she's not gonna go, but that's April the 13th. We have man, I wish I'd have known. I don't know the call letters like Elemental P to me, but we go to Jeffersonville.
It's XCW, I believe.
XCW. Then we leave there and we go to Memphis for Mud Show Pro. Then we go next weekend to Georgia. And then on our way back, we are going to the Nashville Tattoo and Horror Festival to meet Ajax from the Warriors.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah, so we don't just go to wrestling shows. Like, we go and we find shit to do before wrestling shows. That way, memories, man, memories.
Yeah, to keep them forever.
That's right.
Do you guys, Madman, do you have any merchandise that my fans could, if they want, they could pick up? Where can you
I
find
do. So Electra's now reading it, and I think she's satisfied. And I haven't gotten any complaints. And people talk about how they laugh out loud. But I wrote a book. John Cosper wrote a book. I told him the stories. He wrote it. If you want to get a copy of the book, you can go to Amazon.com, or you can, if you want an autographed copy, you can go to EatSleepWrestler.com. And then if you bring that book to one of the death matches where I bled, I will give it the old bloody thumbprint on the first page. That way, if I pass away, you can always make your own Madman Pondo someday. And then T-shirts. A guy named Corey Higdon started a website for nothing but deathmatch wrestlers. And there is all types of Madman Pondo T-shirts. Any deathmatch, choose a deathmatch wrestler right now. Choose one, Joe.
I guess Randy West. That's one that comes to my first one. Comes to my mind.
I don't know if her T-shirts are on there or not. You might have got me on that one, but that is deathmatchworldwide.com. Tell Corey Higdon we sent you. Like, he's not going to give you anything cheaper, but it makes us look good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was by you saying it on the podcast. I know a few people that do. I've watched some deathmatch. Have you ever been to H2O in Long Island?
I have, yeah.
I
wrestled. I wrestled Jimmy Chondo. I wrestled Stretch, and this last time no, that wasn't for H2O, but I am back in Jersey, April the 4th for Slack's Eat the Turnbuckle show. There's going to be like a 12-man deathmatch battle royal, but there's also going to be one match on that show, and it is me versus Low Life Louie because we've never wrestled each other before. Brought to you by I can't remember, some other podcast. I'll send you the link to them guys if you want.
All right. Yeah, that's crazy. That like this small world. I meet you. I talked to you guys on the Facebook, and now boom, we're here doing Dudes at Ringside. This is amazing. Such an honor to have you on. I'm Joe Panther the Third.
We're Pondo and Electra. I almost said I'm Pondo. You're Electra.
That's right. Says it right.
I got us backwards.
Right there.
Yes. And we will catch you in the next one.